Hello, everybody.
Hello. So before starting, can you give me some feedback on the project? How is going on? Still alive?
Yes.
Okay. Any feedback on the project? So we know that just one group visited Stevanato. So are you going to plan a visit to Stevanato, or did you have any problem with that?
Can I speak?
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
I think we were waiting for to do it with at least another group, so we could do it together and organize with the cars, buses, trains, and.
Okay.
But still.
For instance, the day when you would like to go there, if this week or the next week?
Still, I don't know, because we didn't talk about it, because we were posting on Freelancer and evaluating everything, so we were a little bit it went out of our minds, actually.
Okay. Sure. And how is it going with the bid on Freelancer? Did you receive many?
We received many bids, and yes, we are happy about that. And also the prices of the bids are quite well affordable.
Remember that you have to get the money from Stevanato. So when you visit them, just let me know, so I can also ask to give you the money for the bid. Okay.
Okay. So we have to send an email to you.
Yeah, me and Cristina, and we will organize.
And your mentor from Stevanato.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, for our group, we received some bids, but all the prices are high, beyond our budget.
Okay. So we can support you. We can advise you. Just so you can set a call, or you can write into the forum. Please use the digital tools to ask and help. So we are available to give you advices and support you. But if you are not asking, it's difficult for us to support you and make you successful.
Yeah, because one possibility, for instance, one strategy, let's say, is to change a bit the description of your application. So which are your requirements, and to make them as simple as possible in order to match the low budget with their expertise. And so you will have your
Guarda la mail che ti ha mandato il prof, e da lì entri dentro.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, Nicola, please.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Okay, sorry. So let's start now. So again, please ask support. Send us post any question in the forum, or ask a session with us, because we want to support you. We want to advise you. So please ask help. Okay. So now let's go. Let's move on with the test. Cristina, can you go through can you give us the average score of this test and comment a little bit the test, and then we can go through all the questions.
Yeah, so the overall average is about 9.33 out of 10 maximum points. So the answers. The feedback is very good. It means that you followed, however, the program, you followed the structure of the papers, and also the theoretical part, not only the empirical one. So I would like to congratulate me with yourself for this achievement. And if we can just have a look through the questions, especially that the ones that you didn't finish them properly, because there were some questions with one right answer, and in that case it is fine, but some others were like 2 or 3 right answers, and I would like to comment that one. So let me just start with the questions. So the first 3 questions were related to some definitions, for instance, outsourcing, how it was defined. So regarding to this, some of you selected just one right answer, which was, so the right answer is contracting with the third service provider for the management and the completion of a certain amount of work for a specific time, cost, and level of service. So in this case was exactly what you are doing now. So you have the idea, you have the project, and you need to hire someone with IT skills, in this case the web developer, and for a specific amount of time, level of service, and amount with the specific economic amount. The second right answer is a business practice of hiring a third party for specific projects and to acquire the needed competencies. So the advantage of outsourcing is exactly this one. You can hire, let's say, a person, but for a certain amount of time and for specific projects.
Cristina. Oh, she's stuck. Okay. Let me check. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let me check.
Hello? Anyone still here?
Yeah, just wait a little bit. We have problems with Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Dice che non posso partecipare perché
excuse me, can I ask that one of you step out of the conference and connect on YouTube, because now we have the maximum number and Cristina cannot step into the call now. So one of you has to connect through YouTube.
So I'm the only one of my group, so if I
Okay.
can stay, it would
Yeah,
be
of
great.
course. Yeah,
I'm leaving. Just
thank you.
going to eat.
Another one to accept, or
No, that's okay. That's okay now.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, please, can you try with another one? We have still problems with the number, but ok. No, Cristina, però adesso
Okay. Okay.
oh, thank you. Sorry. So now we can continue. Cristina?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry for the interruption. It was a problem with the Wi-Fi, so. So regarding the first question, I was talking about outsourcing definition, and the right one, the one that was not correct is that delegating the development of an activity to a foreign affiliate of own company, in the sense that it is a practice of offshoring where you are reallocating some organizational activities or some the development of some services to a subsidiary. So regarding instead the second question, the definition refers to offshoring practice, and it refers to the reallocation, in this case exactly, of organizational activities, for instance, the human resources or the back office or IT, to an independent service provider in another country. So the aim of this reallocation of organizational activity refers exactly to the possibility to capture more value and competencies and to enlarge also the business. So it refers not only to diminish the production costs of the service or of the product, but also to capture more value from the competencies of other countries with a high expertise and experience in a specific sector. The other questions instead, and the other right question is the practice of obtaining products or services from another country or relocating production to another country to complete a specific service or product. Instead, not,
Yeah.
or to identify the specific of offline customers.
If we have questions, can we ask them just now as you explain, or at the end?
No, you can ask immediately.
I just marked for offshoring, I just marked the reallocation of organizational activities because I thought that the practice of obtaining products or services from another country was more about outsourcing just as a definition, and I thought that offshoring was just about the organizational activities.
Yes, that's true.
It was a little bit
Tricky
strange.
because there was
Yes.
also the other part of the phrase. So it was this one, the practice of obtaining the product, but how relocating the production to another country. So it was
Okay.
related to the second part of the phrase. Okay. Do others have some questions or notes?
No.
Okay. So regarding the domestic insourcing, here there was just one answer. Which was managing the provision of services internally within a business unit located in the same country of the original organization. So this includes, for instance, the major distinction, let's say, between the for instance, outsourcing or domestic outsourcing instead of domestic insourcing refers to the refers to the fact that the function, if the function is performed by a subsidiary business unit of the firm or by an external vendor. So if it is about the domestic insourcing, it refers exactly to internal services, an internal business unit of the headquarters of the mother, let's say, organization in the same country. Instead, the difference with the domestic outsourcing refers to the fact that they are contracting with a third party located in the same country of the client organization, but they are developing the services in for a certain amount of work and length and time. For this reason, it is outsourcing, but it is anyway in the same country. So here, the other two answers were creating digital services only for domestic market. Obviously not, because by definition, digital services are used at national but also global level, and for sure not to satisfy just the domestic market. The other answer, obviously wrong, was reintegrating the international subsidiary because the project was not successfully completed. It is not about the domestic insourcing, it is exactly the reintegration process if the outsourcing practice or adventure started by the corporation in another country was not successful, but it was not about how to manage the resources internal a business unit. So the fourth question was referring to the factors. What are the factors that increase the suitability of processes for outsourcing and offshoring? So here it was just to highlight what are the factors that influence the choices, let's say the attractiveness, the choices of the outsourcing process, and also consequently the attractiveness of the country. And all of the three answers were correct. So it was about, for sure, geographical, temporal, and cultural distances. Especially, for instance, the time zone, which plays a very important role, and also the cultural distance as well, and the linguistic. For sure, the linguistic maybe is diminished thanks to the use of English, but however, there are infinite nuances of English from different countries. Then, regarding the economic, political, and historical linkages, refers exactly and investment offered to international possible international companies interested in investing in that country. So which are the opportunities offered from the economic, political, and historical, but especially economic and political point of view. And the other aspect, so at the national level, and the other aspect refers to the capabilities of individuals regarding their expertise, their skills, their know-how. And also it is related to the local corporate taxes and the local market. So do you have questions until now? Okay. So going to the fifth question, we are talking about the criteria. What are the criteria to evaluate the complexity of business processes? So here the question was mainly about to understand which is the process of outsourcing. So it is about understanding which are the core activities, which is the core idea, and which are the peripheral practices and activities to be done in order to achieve and to satisfy the and to develop the core idea. So here one of the let's say point was to understand how to capture the value creation in a process. One of the ways is to understand the complexity exactly of the process. So here the right answer was just one, the codificability of data, so that the process can be performed by the external party and with adherence with high quality standards. Is a really important point to take care for the global sourcing activities if you will work in this field, but also for the development of your application, which refer to the fact to understand which are the core practices to be done, and you are in charge to do it and to monitor step by step, and instead which are the peripheral activities that can be codified and can be, let's say, standardized and allow others to perform them and to capture. So the aim is to outsource that part of the production of that service in order to have, for instance, higher results for that part because of higher competencies, in this case IT competencies, and the fact that this activity can be done externally, and even if it is done externally, for sure you will face some difficulties or some challenges to overcome, but even if there will be some problems, it will not mine or limit the success of your product. Instead, which is the major not challenge but problem? If you outsource the core activities and you do not monitor them, but at a certain point your freelancer, your web developer will completely have much more power than now he or she has, and he will not answer anymore to your requirement, but will change and will inform you just this is the product the service that I can offer you, so accept it, or it's your problem. This is because this mines also the successful of the project, because you have outsourced the core idea and you don't have anymore the control over it. So the other is that 2 points refers to the higher, to high living environment and to offer a service or a product to attract new users and buyers, which is not related. It is part of the global sourcing process, but not related to the specific aspect of the business processes and the complexity of the business processes. So there are also other aspects that can be included, for instance, the cost of monitoring performance levels, referring to the KPI that during the last virtual meeting we talked about. So monitoring is not just an activity, but it is a very important perform it properly, and a wrong monitoring process will bring to wrong results or to unsuccessful projects. Other aspects, for instance, refers to the amount of training that employees need to deliver some activities and another aspect. So depending from the complexity of your project and which part of which phase of the production or of the release of the final service can be codified and so or outsourced. And at the same time, once you outsource that part, you are in charge to monitor it in order to have a feedback and to implement your idea and to know at which point of the process you are. So the sixth question is that refers to understand. So to understand which of these affirmations are false. In this case, there was just one false sentence, and which is although the availability of qualified skills play an important role in starting an outsourcing process, the scalability of labor resources in the long term is not the criteria to take into consideration, as the final project has a short deadline. So this is a very common and also big mistake that mined the success of some project outsourced abroad, especially at the beginning of the outsourcing of the gold era, let's say, of the outsourcing activities, where many companies, for instance, especially small companies, encouraged by the low costs and the higher revenues, started immediately to outsource a product, the development phase of a product or of a service, in order to save costs, to increase the revenues, and so on. So they did not take into consideration some aspects, which one of these is the scalability of labor resources, especially in the long term, because the starting point may be a one-shot attempt. So if at the beginning the project is successful and you mastered some expertise and you found the right balance between expertise, resources, and the ability to manage outsourced projects, in that case you are successful. But if you do not take into consideration also the labor resources in the long term, so not just for a short period of time to develop that services, but also to maintain that service in the future, in that case, in that moment came the domestic, coming back from the outsourcing project, in the sense that they were not successful because at the beginning they captured that value or that earnings that they were interested about. But the second phase is to maintain that service and to maintain a good quality of that service, not just to offer a one-shot service or one-shot product. And in that case, the earned, let's say, the earned amount of money extra, actually in the long term was a failure, and so many companies were forced to come back to the initial phase. Because they did not take into consideration which are the activities in the long term to be performed. Instead, the other two answers were correct, referring to companies outsourcing IT or business processes compare a range of costs before taking the final decision. So before outsourcing a service or a product, so the company has to acquire as much information as possible in order to have a clearer picture and a wider picture as possible. So in this case, they have to take into consideration the labor cost, but also the scalability of labor costs, the infrastructure cost. Once you are outsourcing in another country, it is important to understand if that country has already specific infrastructure that are fundamental to deliver to perform your outsourced project. Invested for that project actually will return you back once you will deliver the service or the product. Other aspects to take into consideration are about the taxes in the short, but also in the long term. Because in the short, for instance, for 1 to or 5 years, you have certain corporate taxes, but after 5 years, or depending on the country requirement and limits, you will have the same. To follow the same rules of other countries, and you have to take into consideration this point. So if it will still be useful, not useful, but will still be sustainable economically for you, this process. So the other point refers to the quality of infrastructure, which is a very important point to take into account when you are selecting the country where to outsource, because it includes the telecommunication, IT, the transportation, and reliability of power supply. If actually you will be able to gain that and to have power in defining what are the requirements, what you need, and actually in the ability to receive that specific requirement from that country. The seventh question is that refers to the 8th chapter, so to the governance. What are the most effective practices for governing offshore outsourcing projects? So here was to highlight the importance of governing an outsourcing project and of managing all the phases of the project, because there isn't a more important or less important activity. There is the complex process. You are in charge to split each of the process to understand which is the difficulty of each process and how can you tackle each process in order to deliver a successful project. So, and the monitoring aspect plays an important fundamental role, but as well the managing and the governing of these projects. So first of all, one of the more famous practices and effective at the same time is an on-site engagement manager. Especially this was true if the outsourced project is a big project, which will be implemented in that country for 1, 2, 3, or 5 years. So it is necessary that the company needs a person in charge to manage and to govern that project abroad, and also to bring the philosophy of the company, the way of acting, the way of working abroad. And at the same time, it is the melting point between the host country, because an aspect to really to take into consideration is the cultural aspect. And I think if you have already had some contact with your future web developers, you noticed it already. And also with the ability to manage these cultural distances. And the role of on-site manager is exactly this one, is to be sure that all the process is going on, and when the problems or the challenges arise, he or she is in charge to manage them, to solve them in order to continue the process. Otherwise, that process will stop. One of the phases will stop, and the project will not be successful and bring back the desired, let's say, outcome. The other aspect refers to giving offshore suppliers domain-specific training to protect quality and lower development costs. So another aspect to take into consideration is the alignment between the host country competencies and knowledge and the mother organization that is outsourcing the activity. So this is very important. It is about like and to align the competencies of all the employees involved in this process, and also to hire their competencies, to motivate them, to encourage them to undertake this process, and also to increase the quality of the final result. The other element refers to the development of governance metrics to measure cost, quality, time, risks, and rewards. Exactly referring to the KPI. So once you codified each steps that will be outsourced, you have also to develop some metrics, some KPIs to measure the development phase, the implementation phase, and to understand at which point you are. The main point of this is to understand which is the problem at the base, which is the challenge to be overcome, and how to overcome. And when you see some KPIs very low, you can understand immediately, okay, in that point I have to increase the efforts in order to continue the outsourced process. So regarding sorry, do you have some questions, or some doubts?
No, in the 9th, so I'm still waiting.
Okay. So going to the 8th, instead referring to complete the following sentence, is an effective relationship management of a business process organization helps to. There are 3 answers. The first one, the skill pool may include technical and business knowledge, management skills, languages, and the ability to learn new concepts. This is the criteria that shows the country attractiveness for sourcing. So here is a, let's say, tricky but not that much, because the second phrase exactly explains why this is not the right answer. It is a correct answer, but in the wrong place. So it is not about effective relationship management, but it is about country attractiveness. So the skill pool, the capability, the management skills, in the outsourcing project. The other wrong question answer refers to outsourcing failures will continue to be a venture, as it involves complex processes and the balance between knowledge, expertise, and luck. So here, it is about failure, but at the same time venture, which. So global sourcing truly is a venture, as all new experience is undertaken by organizations, but also by individuals as well. But so the failure is a must in each, let's say, working process from each point of view, because failure is a new possibility to learn what is going on, and failure is not about the final project. But the failure refers to the intermediate failures, which are necessary in order to understand if the approach, the theoretical approach, is proper, and if it is properly implemented, and if the results of the implementation are good, so the company is satisfied with the results. In the case if the company is not satisfied, so it may be a failure, but it is an intermediate failure in order to understand, okay, this approach is not suitable for this project or for this country, so I have to change it. So a failure is necessary, but not as the whole project, outsourced project, but as an intermediate phase. Because it is a venture where you or the company will learn how to balance between this triangle, between the already possessed knowledge, but also the knowledge that the company will acquire. So this will bring to more expertise in a specific field, but at the same time also it is necessary to have also a bit of luck. So to finish it, so an effective relationship management helps to bridge cultural gaps between companies and fosters a collaborative working approach in business process organization. So it is necessary to have also a bit of luck. So to finish it, so an effective relationship management helps to bridge cultural gaps between companies and fosters a collaborative working approach in business process organization. So it is necessary to have also a bit of luck. So and an attempt of control, because for sure the control is not about you are thinking how a process should go, and you are monitoring that that process should go in exactly in that way and in that direction, and it will go in that one. No, the control is about understanding in which direction you are going, and all the actors involved are going, and how to show the path, to direct the path to achieve the final result. In this sense, it is really fundamental to find a balance between coordination and control. So the skill, okay. So regarding instead the ninth question. So we are talking about the governance of outsourcing project. The governance of outsourcing project refers to the scale of the process. Sorry, first, the scale of the process is also important in deciding if outsourcing is an appropriate solution, because if the process is too large, this might represent an additional layer of management that will add further costs. So it refers to the fact that when you are engaging in this outsourcing project, you have to take into consideration many aspects. One of these is the how big is the project, how large is the project, because if the project is larger, then actually the organization capability to manage it, capability in the sense of economic knowledge and governance and management capabilities to manage this process in order to capture value and gain, for instance, some expertise. If it is too large, so the match between the costs, for instance, the costs, the resources invested are higher than actually the revenues coming from this project, it will end up to become an additional layer of management that actually will add other costs instead of decrease it. The other answer is that the processes and structures that ensure the alignment of strategies and objectives of the parties involved. So this is really the core of what a governance is of a project, independently if it is a national or international or outsourcing project. So the governance, it is about understand which are the objectives to be reached with this project, how to reach this project. So here we are with the strategies, which is the path, which is the approach and took to reach that objectives. So this is, let's say, the big picture of the outsourcing activity, and which are the small work packages in order to achieve, to respect these strategies and that objectives, but not only of one organization or on just of the hosting country, but all of the parties involved at the national and international level. Instead, regarding the third question, the third answer is not the right one, not because it is not correct, but because it is not about the governance of the outsourcing project. So, which is, according to Farrell, there are some factors more critical in assessing the country or city's attractiveness than others, such as quality of work, cost, infrastructure, and quality of life. So here it is about not about the governance, but about the assessment of country attractiveness. So here you had a question, right?
Yes. So it is about the fact that I agree that about the sentence, the scale of the process is also important, etc. But I didn't select it because I thought that it wasn't really about the governance of outsourcing projects, but was more about a prior, I don't know, studying of the situation before even outsourcing So maybe it was just a misunderstanding or a slightly different
expensive activity. So here it is about the costs, to understand if the costs are higher, equal, or lower than the revenues. So this is the first, let's say, phase of the outsourcing activity, because you have to take into consideration the whole picture, and the governance is exactly to have a wider picture as possible, as wider as possible, in order to understand if you can embark in this experience or not.
Okay.
So it is the first step. So going instead to the 10th one, which are the fundamental mistakes that companies commit when they do not make decisions about offshoring systematically enough. So here is about understanding why some organizations or some small, medium enterprises, or also small enterprises undertook this process, this experience, but unfortunately they did not reach the desired objectives, so they were forced to come back. And they were forced not mainly, so why they were forced to come back, and so they were not able to exploit the possibilities offered by and the advantages offered by this practice. First of all, because they did not spend enough time in evaluating which processes they should offshore and which they shouldn't. Here it is about, again, the core activities and the periphery activities. So if you or the company did this mistake, they did not understand actually what they are going to do. They were mainly attracted by the idea, okay, we are going abroad in order to save money because of higher expertise, lower costs, and so we'll increase our earnings. Actually, this is one side of the coin, but the other side is that they have to work very hardly and to integrate with the hosting country in order, and interact with the hosting country in order to achieve an alignment between the two countries, between the two companies, in order to achieve the desired objective. So if they did not evaluate which is the process, so first of all is to understand which is the activity you would like to outsource. So which is your core activity, why it is the core activity, and instead which are the peripheral activities. Once understood this, you have to understand how to code the peripheral activities. Code means in the sense how to split all the intermediate activities to be done in order to complete the core activities, so the small work packages. And a very big mistake is this one. So they did not take into consideration the small work packages to be done in order to achieve the desired outcome. So they were just very attracted by higher revenues and lower costs, but they did not take into consideration the intermediate phases in order to achieve these revenues. So, okay. Then the second one, the second right answer refers to executives use simple cost-benefit analysis to make decisions without realizing their vendors will gain the upper hand. So here it is again, they did not take into consideration other aspects except of the costs, except of the economical benefits. So they just were attracted by initial idea of what is global sourcing, but it is not only outsource a product in order to lower costs and increase revenues, but it is about to shift the added value from, let's say, from the cost, the development phase, the cost used for the development phase. So you shift that value to the final result. You save some costs to develop the services or the product, but at the same time you have to embark in another experience, which is the dynamics between the hosting and the national organization, and how they cooperate together in order to deliver the final service or product. Instead, the wrong answer was most executive find easy to distinguish among core processes, critical processes, and commodity processes, so there is no real problem in offshoring. For sure, it is not so these are mainly the feedbacks from the online test. And if you have other questions or curiosities, for sure you can ask me here or write me an email or on a chat.
Oh, no, thank you, Christina. Please not email. So let's use the platform, and because now I see that there is a low activity into the platform. So please use the forum, because then we can interact, or the chat on the platform, so we can interact in that place.
So Moodle.
Yeah, Moodle. Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Moodle. Yeah. So again, please ask and help also for projects. If you have questions, post on Moodle, and we will chat on a Thursday morning. So please read the paper and try, if you have time, just prepare 2, 3, 4 slides for your speeches. Of course.
I have a question about the presentation, sorry.
Yeah,
is it an individual one, or should we put all the answers in a presentation with our group?
Of course, my goal is to push you working as a group, as a team. Okay. So if you can organize a team, it will be better. So if you don't have time to see your friends, your mates, just prepare a self-presentation.
Okay, so we should answer together and then prepare the presentation and post it on Moodle.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see the questions anymore about the assignment. They were on a post because I remember them, but now I can't see them anymore on Moodle.
Let me check if I modified something, maybe while I was preparing the online test.
Okay, I will check, Emma. I don't know really.
No, actually, no. Actually, they are there. It is below the online test. So you have the online test, and if you scroll down, there is when would you present the project, which was the question, and down there is the online assignment, read and present, and down it is written. There are written the questions like, "Dear student, your online assignment is now accessible."
I just see submission status, and that's it. I see just add submission.
Add submission. Like assignment with submission, your answer here.
Yes, but I don't see the answers. Sorry, the questions that were posted before.
Okay, just let me share with you my screen.
Okay.
I will show you, but I will check again.
Because I remember them, so...
Yeah, they are actually. I don't know why you cannot see them, but for instance, let me go to the student role, and if you like here, look here, we are at the beginning of week 4.
Okay.
Here, so we have calendar, information about first online test. Here the information.
Yes.
Then below you have the online test. Then below you have when you could present the project. And then you have online assignment, read and present, and then dear student.
Okay. Thank you.
But just let me know. And then down you have the assignment, how to submit your answers, and then the virtual meeting of today. But do you have the same visual, or you have a different one?
Yeah, I see this screen, so it's okay for us. It's correct.
Okay, But maybe Emma had some problems
No,
with
now I solved it. Okay, I was
okay.
just having I don't know which view mode, strange view
Okay.
mode.
No, or maybe another option while I was preparing the online test, maybe I switched
Yes,
or
probably.
something.
Okay, so
So, but one thing that I would like to specify is that during the virtual
Christina, oh, the wife.
there will be like 3 presentations with the 3 questions, but we will ask like not just one person to answer to the questions, but more than one, and we also would like to have some interactions among you, among the groups, because one group may interpret one question in one way and another one in another way. So it will not be just one. The presentation will be presented by one person, for instance, the team leader or another person selected by you, but all of the members will participate to this discussion.
Okay. So, yes. Anyway, now, thank you, Christina. Time is over. We have to close now. So I recognize that you are putting a lot of effort on the course. So we will close with the presentation on the December 16th and 17th. There should be no
18, 19.
18, 19. Yeah. Okay. And then we have to recover one lecture because I canceled this week. Let's talk next week. But anyway, great work, and I'm very happy about your, I would say, your performance now. So please visit Stevanato, and let's continue with the online interaction. Also, if you have questions, please just call or email or organize an hangout with Pietro at Stevanato or other guys. Yeah, so
I have just one brief questions about the 18 and 19. So it is confirmed those 2 dates.
Yeah, in presence. Yeah.
Okay, and it would be on the afternoon.
Yeah, we can leave the same hours
As the okay
time slot.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a quick update for the Overlappers project. We found a developer and he gave us the first prototype.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, really? Already?
Yes. Yeah.
So please check the requirements with Stevanato, of course, because
we are planning to do it next week, but we will let you know.
Okay.
We are still bargaining with the developer, so
yeah, because he asked a lot of high price. So.
Okay.
Yeah, because as soon we posted the offer, like 10, 11, 12 guys texted us. So they were very eager to do the project.
Guys, if you have problems or if you have questions with the project, this Thursday, we can reserve the meeting, the virtual meeting on Thursday.
Okay.
Just on the project, and we can postpone on next Monday this discussion on the paper if you want.
So the presentation of the answers on Monday?
Yeah.
No. It is a possibility if you would like to.
If you want to discuss about your projects, we can do on Thursday, next Thursday, and we can move on next Monday the discussion on the assignment of the paper that we give you.
Yeah, it might work. We have to hear from all the other students, or
we will post a request here just now later before the class, and you will answer if you would like to postpone to Monday the presentation about the paper, and on Thursday to focus mainly on your
perfect. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
But yeah, just confirm on Moodle. So you can post on Moodle. Yes, we prefer to discuss on Thursday about our projects and etc. And move on Monday the assignment. Okay.
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 Francisco, do you have some questions?
Me, no, I was just wondering if I can talk with you or with Professor Vaya about the bid, because we have a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, sorry, we have a lecture, so I have to exit. Sorry.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Francesca, can
Yeah,
we?
the same. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye bye.
thank you. Bye, guys.
Francesca, can we discuss on Thursday? We can use the Thursday slot on projects, so we can.
Okay, my worry is that it's going to be too late, but it would be fine. Okay.
Also, if you want, you can join us into the department. We can have a face-to-face meeting tomorrow.
Tomorrow I cannot, but
let's
do.
Okay, you can arrange with Christina a virtual meeting on Hangout. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. I have to go. Bye.
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 Bye.